My
On
friend,
my, okay.
welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr.
Uh,
Anderson here for the May new month forecast with Michelle Landers. She is a board certified life coach and professional numerologist. And we are so fortunate to have her support here at Enlightened World Network. Michelle Landers, thank you for being here. And what can you tell us about May?
yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Ruth. And you know how much I love being on Enlightened World Network and all the wonderful work that you do. So, what can I tell you about May? First of all, I apologize for being a few minutes late. I know that can be frustrating sometimes for people, but that's May already. Um, one of the things I thought about, I said, wow, I think May very subtly is going to give us a little break from a lot of the shocks and the upsets of March and April. However, in truth, I think that we're so accustomed to shocks that nothing really surprises us. We may get a, ah, but still on its own, May presents us with some extraordinarily um, really moving astrological and numerological alignments, inviting us and supporting us to break free from old patterns and just clear the decks. And I'm going to jump around probably a little bit because there were a couple of things I wanted to talk about. One thing I want to say real quick, because I was concerned I might forget it. Chiron is called the wounded healer, and it's been in Pisces for quite a while, but it is going into Aries, and that is significant. And we'll talk about that in a little while. So, first of all, it's time to take a big, bold step into new beginnings. After all, May is a 5 month, which is change, change, change. So, what's going to change? What I'm wondering is if I know that I've been feeling the energy and the energetic shifts, and I'm wondering if anyone else is feeling that or feeling as if you're waking up or feeling like something's coming, or you need to do something. I know definitely I have, and I didn't realize until I started doing the aspects for the month what the heck was going on or what's coming. So we're going to start as we do with the numerological aspects for May. Again, it's five. May is a 5 month. And as I tell you every month, because 2025 is a 9 year, every month we'll have a double dose of that month's numeric energy. And that's powerful. So when we get to September, I expect big transitions because September is a 9 month and we're in a 9 year, but we're not there yet. So when you add the number 5 month of the year, and we add it to the universal energy of 2025, which is 9, we arrive at 14. When you add 1 and 4, you arrive at the number 5. So that's how it goes for the entire year. Each month, we're going to have a double dose of whatever that energy is. So I wanted to backtrack a little bit because I noticed a couple of things had happened, or one thing in particular. Last month, I had mentioned that there was either a leader stepping down or something was going to happen. And sure enough, we saw that Pope Francis passed. And I don't know how I happened to come around this, but I did. Klaus Schwab stepped down as World Economic Forum chief. Okay. So, another thing that I'm going to keep mentioning until after July is again, we have this possibility of assassination attempts on Trump. Well, apparently, there have been recently two other plots to assassinate the president. One was a Pennsylvania man was recently arrested for making threats, and to not only Trump but Elon Musk, and a man by the name of Sean Montpere was arrested for also planning an assassination against Trump. Ryan Routh or Roth, I'm not sure, is another. And the reason I mention it is because, I guess Trump doesn't follow astrology, but and numerology, but he really should, because that stuff is just looming. So again, the word for the month is change. May is a big month of many changes, ideas that will likely push or prod us into a different direction. There's no doubt in my mind that five, on one hand, it's restless, it's impatient. We can feel we're at a crossroads. Our energy can be a little scattered. We can have this feeling of which way do I go? What do I do? So the five is about movement, and it's going to be felt individually and globally. And moves, which can be more, it could be more moves of home. Maybe more people are selling, moving this year, or this month, I should say. I think it does have to do with the real estate market. And I'm thinking, because the five, we're in Taurus season, and Taurus is about security and home and physical earth. So the five can bring changes in all of those areas. It just feels like there's so many moving parts this month. We're going to do this. No, 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 wait, let's do this. Or I want to do this, but I don't have all the information. People can be rash, they can be impulsive. Communication is so big this month and wild. So I just caution everybody, because of this energy, just be very, very, very careful with your words. Five is also about travel. Five is usually a number of short trip travel or local travel, but it is especially good if you're traveling to learn something, or if you're really curious about some area. And five can be fun socially. So I do encourage people to get out there, be with other people. You'll be surprised the connections you can make this month, the ideas that can come forth. There's so much high energy right now. But there can also be changes and probable, I would say, delays, which we experience right now in transportation, land, air, and water. On another note, watch shipping cargoes, tankers. There may possibly be some oil spills, something to do with water and cargo, things happening or changes, especially around water. Weather, again, I don't even know if I should mention this every month, because I think people get it. Crazy fires, droughts, flooding, and again, eruptions, volcanoes. There is a possibility of an eruption in Mexico, and that did not come from me. That came from another psychic. But I know that eruptions are part of the month. Now, for the USA, May is a 7 personal month in a 2 personal year. The number 2 and the number 7 are very, very intuitive, very sensitive, and very emotional numbers. So don't be surprised if in the US, if your emotional life seems a bit rocky, things are confusing, we're questioning many, many things. But the good news, because there's always, this give and take with the numbers, the combination can lead to really important self-discoveries. And I think that's really big this month, is realizations, other discoveries, and really pay attention to your intuitive perceptions. And I want to mention how important that is. That's always important, but I really encourage people to get as quiet as they can, despite the craziness going on, despite all this. Really step up your meditation and your whatever process you use to heighten your intuition. Really step that up this month. The number 7 is highly spiritual. So in a sense, it's a I want to be alone energy, creating a feeling of wanting to withdraw, wanting to step back, but so much going on that kind of forces you to do things. It is not the time to push anything or rush into anything, as I said. But seven is such an supportive energy for meditation, for studying. It's also connecting with others from the past or those you haven't seen in a while. And we also know that seven is about secrets, secret planning, secrets coming out. There are things, I feel strongly that there's things going on under the surface. And I really hope that some of it comes out this month. It can be enlightening. It could be enlightening secrets coming out, or it can be devious. And again, with seven, it's a great time to travel or just get away. But I would suggest it really favors long distance travel, which is a kind of a contradiction here because I do think that there's going to be issues with travel this month. But it really favors travel near water. But here's the rub, right? We have a lot of Neptunian energy, which is also about water. And we may be having issues about water, on water, underwater. And again, flooding or droughts. But overall, I really think we need to try and take advantage of that seven energy to bring about that wisdom that we have and insights and premonitions and revelations is very, very important all the time, but especially this month. We need everyone to step up their spiritual practice. And I think more and more people are doing that. So, taking a look at the tarot cards for May, the first one I want to look at is the 14th card of the tarot, which is Temperance. So, sure enough, Temperance is what? It's about economical, being moderate, being frugal, and it's about balance and moderation. And that's what we need this month. Temperance asks us to avoid extremes. So instead of, just saying what's on your mind, think about it. And it's about getting pulled emotionally in one direction. So it asks us to find this middle path. So even in the midst of all these changes, we absolutely need to find our inner calm and rely on our intuition. So, what is the fifth card of the tarot? And I love this. It's the Hierophant or the Hierophant. And it's interesting because the Hierophant is regarded as the bridge between heaven and earth. Hence, again, why I'm saying this five, which is so notorious for bringing changes. And it's another thing I didn't mention, five in numerology is man, physical man on earth. But the Hierophant, which resonates to five, it represents organized systems of belief, whether that's religious or educational institution or governments or even spiritual practices. So the Hierophant reminds us that structure can provide spiritual grounding, but also that structures must serve higher truths and not become cages. So that's some of the energy that has to do with the Hierophant. It is the bridge. It's acknowledging, yes, we are physical beings, but we are spiritual beings we're spiritual beings having this human experience. So, on another interesting note, I've spoken before about the rapid fire advances that are happening and will continue to be made in the technological fields. Well, this is just a side note. On April 14th, which is funny, 4 and 1 is 5, White House science advisor Michael Kratsios, he went viral after a speech in which he claimed US technology can manipulate time and space. That's a direct quote. Look it up. So I'm wondering, is that what's underneath? That's what's happening? Does he mean metaphorically? I mean, it's crazy, but a lot of crazy things, I think, are coming out. So the big news that's I think all astrologers and psychics are talking about, numerologists, May 25th. And I will get to that, but this is a big energy shift day. Saturn and Neptune are together in Aries, very rare, very important for both the collective and for us personally. But I'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to put that out there, circle that. And it could be 24th, 25th, 26th in that area. So May 2nd, we have Venus conjoins Neptune, Mercury in Aries, sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So tomorrow, and it could be today as well, because these transits kind of overlap. So it's about deep thinking and very persuasive communication. And again, uncovering hidden truth, which is and has been a theme for quite a while. So we can expect those really what moments for sure. Now, on the 4th, we have Chiron, as I started to talk about, moving into Aries for 10 years. Now, Chiron was in Pisces for about the last 10 years. And what was it doing? It's the wounded healer in Pisces, which is very spiritual. It was pushing us to examine our spirituality, our spiritual practice. Well, now it's going into Aries. What does that mean? Well, it's going to show us the importance of not only self love, but what is Aries? I want to be heard, our individuality, that we're all individuals. We are together on this planet collectively, but the rights of the individual have to not be ignored any longer. And Pluto goes into retrograde in Aquarius. Now, as you probably know, Pluto has been in Aquarius. It's been retrograde. It was in Capricorn, then retrograde in Aquarius, and then moving forward in Aquarius. Now it's back in retrograde. So this is a 5-month period of profound introspection, transformation. And this is going to go on till around October 13th. It can expose hidden motives. It's going back over things that weren't working and re-examining them. It's people giving a lot of thought to all the changes we've been experiencing and questioning, well, where are we? Where are we going? And what beliefs, what outdated beliefs, what patterns are we ready to let go of? And this is an important theme all month. May 6th, we have Venus in Aries, sextile Pluto in Aquarius. I like that energy. It's playful, it's social, it's just a nice day, a really nice day. It's intellectual energy, but it also seems to be fun. Now on May 8th, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus in Taurus. That can really bring a few things. It can bring unexpected news. It can bring mental, I was going to say breakdowns, but that's not what I mean at all. I mean breakthroughs. And it can bring, but maybe it brings breakdowns. It could be someone has a breakdown. And it also brings a lot of insight. On May 9th, we have Jupiter enters Gemini. Jupiter expands everything. What is Gemini? Chatty, very intellectual. So I think that day really promises to bring, I think, a huge collective shift somehow. Fast communication, curiosity about a lot of things. Here comes the questioning. What's going on? What are we doing? Gemini is all about mental activity. And as I said, Jupiter is all about expansion. So tons of communication going on. I'm hoping that new ideas will present themselves. It's fast moving. It's a really good day for teaching. So if you're planning some kind of a workshop where you're going to be teaching something, that's a really good day to do it. Let's see, May 10th, Mercury enters Taurus, Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Now, Taurus is very earthbound, and it usually brings stability to your thinking because Mercury is thinking. But it also can be this, crossing your arms and stubbornness to new ideas. There can be some, Taurus is money as well. and Uranus is surprises. So it could have some surprises having to do with our stability or money, something in that neighborhood. Okay, May 12th, full moon in Scorpio, which I have a Scorpio rising, so I expect I'm going to feel this. And Mercury square Pluto and the moon opposite Uranus. So within all of those words, I'm sure you get the feeling for what I'm about to say. All full moons are powerful, emotional, illuminating, and releasing. But a Scorpio full moon, it's about revelations. It's a very, very deep emotional moon. Scorpio full moons usually expose secrets. It brings about intense conversations. It can force transformations, but it also can clear up emotional clutter. And with the moon's opposition to Uranus, it often brings about unexpected emotional shifts, could be even shocks, could be accidents globally, personally. So just be very careful around that time. It could also bring news about money, maybe some secrets. Scorpio is very deep, very secretive, but be very aware, be alert to your surroundings, but also be alert to sudden insights because Uranus can do that as well. Very emotional, passions run high. And again, avoid any type of impulsive reaction, impulsive words. So that's a day to circle. May 15th, 16th, Mars enters Cancer. Now we know Mars is what? Mars is action, it's fiery. And what's Cancer? Cancer is about home, family, nurturing, protection. So we may feel more emotional, more protective, more concerned about our home, about our family. Um, I wrote that people may be waging a fight for family and for emotional, safety and security. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but yeah, it's action and home. Now, on the 17th, the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, square Mars in Leo. Another intense energy, a desire to break free from traditions or conventional constraints. It also can bring about breakthroughs and insights and changes out of nowhere. Uranus, that's what Uranus does. It gives us these knocks on the head or these surprises, but sometimes they're really, really good surprises. Yeah, changes out of nowhere. Mars in Leo demands attention. I am here. Pay attention to me. It can definitely be about power struggles in communications, obsession over ideas. So that day is very intense. So I would use that in a positive way and, think about what in your life needs to break through, what needs to be different, what changes do you absolutely need to make. Now, on the 20th, we have the sun in Gemini. The sun it's Gemini season. And the pace is going to pick up even more conversations, people more vocal. Sorry about that. Things definitely pick up speed. Gemini is what? Curious. Gemini is questioning. It's a great time for learning. Again, it's good for any kind of social outings. I think it's more of a fun day. So pay attention to that. And if there's something that you want to learn, it's a great day to start that process. On May 22nd, we have Venus trine Pluto. Venus and Aries trine Mars and Leo. That's a lot of intense energy. So it can bring about some very deep emotional conversations and interactions. And If there's something that you have to clear the air about, just be, again, very cognizant of how you present that or how you speak about it. But it's also a great day for creativity, powerful creative expression. And I don't think I did mention this, but the 5 is also wonderful for creative expression. So that's also the entire month. So let's get to the 24th, 25th, 26th. Okay. Saturn and Neptune will be conjunct, which is in the same astrological sign, for a significant period starting when Saturn enters Aries on May 25th. So I'm just going to pause here and do something a little bit different because it's such a significant transit. And although I know a bit about astrology, I listened to a very well-known astrologer, Pam Gregory, to hear what she had to say. And I just briefly want to give you some cliff notes of that before I go on. And what she says about Neptune, the Neptune Saturn conjunction, she says it happens every 36 to 37 years, but it doesn't happen at 0 degrees Aries, and that's significant. 0 and 29 degrees is also a tipping point. And that's why this is such a big deal, because it really represents pure potential. It's the very first degree of Aries and first degree of the zodiac. And it really does signal the beginning of a whole new era. And she goes on to say, if you have Saturn Neptune conjunction in your natal chart, and people can get their natal chart very easily and for free, by the way, on a number of sites online. So if you have that, you're likely to feel it the most and more strongly. Also, if you're born between 1952 and 53, you will have a Saturn Neptune conjunction. If you're born in 1989, you will have a Saturn Neptune conjunction. So you'll tend to feel this a little bit strongly, more intensely. So Saturn was last in Aries between 1997 and 1999. So if you have a natal chart, look at your chart at the house where Aries falls and try and think back to that time and remember what was happening for you. Perhaps a challenge or a delay, something that took time, something that might have slowed you up. And it was interesting for me because at that time, in 1999, 2000, we were building a house, and certainly there were tons of delays. But for sure, this is what I found so interesting that Pam said. The transit is linked. Are you ready? Russian history. Russian history really seems to resonate, and Russia really seems to resonate to this Saturn-Neptune conjunction. We had a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in 1917. That's the Russian Revolution. We had it again in 52 and 53. In 1952, Putin was born. In 1953, Stalin died. And then we had it again in 1989 when the Berlin Wall came down. So this conjunction at 0 degrees is coming up again now in 2025 and 2026 will lead, Pam believes, to a redefinition with Russia in some way. So we're going to wait and see what happens. And Neptune was last in Aries from April 1861 to 1875. And that was over the period of the US Civil War, because Neptune and Aries can glorify, unfortunately, war or idealize war. And Neptune is about water, the seas, illusions, delusions, dreams, spirituality, addictions, collective hypnosis, deception, blood, and the immune system. but it's also about transcendence, reaching higher levels of spirituality. So all of this is like coming together. It's giving us this big push. Okay, so that was from Pam. So my take on this, well, Saturn was in Aries from 67 to 69. And that was a time when there were a lot of protests against the war in Vietnam. So it's not any surprise, right? There has been and will be more protesting. More people are gathering in groups. Yeah, they're protesting, but they're also people forming these supportive groups, spiritual groups, groups of commonality, food co-ops, gardening. And it can also mean, and I'm just putting this as a sidebar, I guess, or a side note, it could be a big planetary event or shift of some type. And since Saturn is disciplined and Aries is what? Action, people are getting involved in a more, and I love this, a thought out, planned way. More people searching for higher truths, more people embracing spirituality. And I don't mean in just the religious sense, but embracing the collective idea that we are all one. And as Martin Luther had said, we must learn to live together as brothers, or we will perish together as fools. So, what's the deeper spiritual meaning here? What is real versus illusion? What are you willing to take responsibility for? Do you truly trust the universe versus are you still scared and clinging to old ego structures? And it's an invitation to build dreams brick by brick, not just wishing and hoping. There's a lot of grounded energy here. Make your spiritual life more embodied, more enhanced. Step into leadership without needing outside validation. So during that period of time, I think all of these characteristics or aspects are going to be highlighted. Now, on the 30th, we have Sun conjunct Mercury, and this is a cazimi. And a cazimi happens when a planet is close enough to the sun, well, within 1 degree, to be considered in the heart of the sun. So the sun's intense energy and its power can really enhance or temporarily overshadow a planet's influence. And it could be a spark of inspiration. I hope you don't hear that. Somebody's cutting my lawn right now. And it could bring a moment of clarity. Um, so that's the 30th, but wrapping it up, this is what I want to say. If life were a movie, May 2025 is when the old sets are quietly being dismantled. The actors are rehearsing new scripts. The new movie's about to be filmed, but only if it comes from real passion, real truth, soul truth. So I think that May is loaded with transits that speak so loudly to the number 5 of change. May can be full of surprises and changes, and some are going to be more subtle, and some are going to feel like this full out, what's happening? So, what's the key? As always, stay grounded, have discernment, and know that May is about courageous new beginnings while being very real and practical about your dreams. You know, putting a foundation, putting legs under your ideas and your visions. And of course, trust your instincts, remain open to insights, remain open to opportunities. A lot of opportunities are out there this month. Stay rooted in faith and build carefully, intentionally, and soulfully. So that's it for the month. I wish you all super enlightened month. So thank you all.
Thank you, Michelle. I will say this is the first time in about 6 months that there hasn't been anything kind of white knuckling.
No, there may be around the 24th. I mean, there's some stuff, going on there, but it's again one of these months, but I don't think it has the intensity of March and April, although the caveat here is I feel something brewing for sure, but I kind of, laid it all out there. So maybe listen to this a couple of times. I'm not sure. But the important thing for us is, as usual, to stay grounded. But I do want to emphasize it is so supportive for creative ideas, for stepping into your power, for not allowing what's out there to control you, which, okay, that's true all the time, but to not listen to those voices that tell you you can't do this. This is definitely a month to take a leap of faith for sure. So I think I'm going to start including cocktail recipes for people at the end of each one because we certainly need. I'm not a, well, I was going to say I'm not a proponent of alcohol, but I guess I am because I do like occasional cocktails. So I thought May would be mojitos, June would be Jello shots, July Jack Daniels. I don't know. That was just something that came to me. I think you should include alcoholic beverage recipes at the end of the month.
It's very fun, very fun. Right. So, Michelle, what would you like folks to know about you?
Um, okay, that I am a board certified life coach and a professional numerologist, hypnotherapist, and the author of 2 books. But I would love people just to know that if you want to just have a 15-minute free conversation with me, please do that. There's no pressure. It's all about, for me, curiosity and to help people step into their power. So that's a free 15-minute conversation with me. And you can go to my website, michellelanders.com, and Michelle is with 1L, and book an appointment. I'm happy to talk to anyone. And of course, if you want to have your numerology chart done, which I do now for a full chart, include a little bit of astrology, or you want to book a session, give me a call or, sign up for an appointment. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here every month. We greatly appreciate you here at Enlightened World Network. And friends, thank you for being here. So take good care. God bless. And we will see you all soon. Bye now.